For this question, the question kind of gives us the answer. It says that we need to ask what the main purpose of the analogy with the ping pong ball is. Well, an analogy is a comparison. So they're trying to make some sort of comparison to help us understand something. Like, that's just what an analogy does. But I think the reason people might get this question wrong is they don't really scrutinize the answer choices. So we really want to just make sure we're paying attention to strong words in the choices and that we can justify the words based on the lines, okay? So we need to make sure we understand the context and that we understand what each individual word in the choices mean. They're not just random words. They have specific meanings that we have to be mindful of. So let's look at what they're actually saying about the ping pong ball. It says, justifiably, you would interpret the resistance as the particle's mass. For a mental toehold, think of a ping pong ball, submerged in water. When you push on the ping pong ball, it will feel much more massive than it does outside of water. Its interaction with the watery environment has the effect of endowing it with mass. So with particles submerged in the Higgs field. So that last little bit there, so with, that phrase is saying that there's a comparison, that the particles in the Higgs field are very similar to a ping pong ball in water. It's making a comparison, just like we expected. So now let's look at the choices and see what matches with that. Choice A, popularize a little-known fact. Well, I probably agree that this is a little-known fact, but popularize is a word that is very specific, right? Is there intention here to make it very well-known, to popularize it? I don't think so. I mean, this is just a random analogy. There's nothing here saying that, like, everyone needs to know this thing about the Higgs field, right? This is just one article on an SAT. Like, why does this need to become a popular fact? So that's a strong word. Popularize has a very specific meaning. And in order to use that word and have that be the right answer, we would need direct evidence of that in the lines. We do not have that evidence, right? You may think it's a fact worthy of being popularized, but the lines need to justify it. Let's look at B. Contrast competing scientific theories. Well, there are no competing scientific theories here, right? This is meant to just explain one thing, right? So in order to choose choice B, we would need to look at the word theories and say, okay, there better be two theories here at least. There's not. There's just the one. So that doesn't make any sense. C, criticize a widely accepted explanation. Well, this is almost kind of like choice A. Widely accepted means popular. So is this a popular explanation? I don't have evidence of that. So that doesn't really make sense. This seems like a kind of random fact about a very obscure physics phenomenon. And so widely accepted, I don't really know I can justify that. But also criticize, right? I mean, they're just making a comparison. They're not like attacking some point of view. So that doesn't work either. And that leaves us with D, clarify an abstract concept. That's perfect, right? Because what's the point of an analogy? It's to make something that's confusing a little bit more understandable, right? To clarify something. And then abstract concept, well, we're talking about some weird, physics thing. I don't even know what it is. And so it makes sense that it's an abstract, hard to imagine situation. And we would use a much more concrete example about the ping pong ball to better understand that situation. That's why we use analogies. That's very common. So I'm not bringing in my outside knowledge here. Like, yes, like just knowing the definition of an analogy probably could get you the answer here, but it's also just justified by the lines. And I think that that's the key, is that it's not just that all the others are wrong, but we can also prove choice D correct here just based on what they're saying. They're making a comparison. I'm trying to understand this thing, the Higgs field, using something that I do understand, a ping pong ball. So stick to the lines and just make sure you're analyzing the choices and not just going with what kind of feels right to you. Words have specific meanings, and strong words need to be justified using the lines as much as we can. And that's how we avoid trap answers and get the right answers.